Welcome back and Happy New Year. It's 2022. We've got a big year ahead of us. A lot of us in the IT field are looking forward to what's going to happen this year. The tech space is really growing. It has grown exponentially since the start of the pandemic, and I think 2022 is going to be no different. Before we get started, you may have noticed that I have shifted the focus a bit of this channel to just sort of cloud consulting and IT consulting type stuff. So things like Microsoft Azure, Microsoft 365, all the IT consulting stuff, just your general type of IT tech. That's because I've also started another channel. It's called Coffee with Elias. If you would like to subscribe, I don't have any videos up there just yet, but I will this week. That channel is going to be more about creating sort of business type content. So building businesses in IT, for example, going out and speaking to other business owners, going out and speaking to people where I can see lots of passion. So it doesn't have to be business owners, can be people who I think, or how maybe people that I might determine, or people have determined that those people are successful in their field thanks to passion. That's the type of thing that I'm going to interview. So if you would like to see things like that, it's going to cover things like crypto, metaverse type stuff. It's going to be business related and just a bit of, inspiration, motivation for people to really be drawn into their passion. Please follow that channel. It's called Coffee with Elias. I will leave a link in the comment section below. I would like to keep progressing this in a sort of more tech focused area, and that's what we'll do. Today, what we're going to do is we are going to talk about the questions you should be asking customers when you're building new solutions or when you're scoping out new solutions for them. And the questions that I think will really help you build a great solution that meets all their requirements. These are the questions I think that will really help you. It is by no means a definitive list. It is just the basic type of questions that I would ask. And there's probably a lot more that'll come up in conversation with your customer, but I think these are the ones that will help you generate those questions and help you actually get to the spot where you can be confident enough to go ahead and do a statement of work and build a potential POC for that user or for that customer. So if you do want to see more of this type of content, cloud related stuff, IT consulting, cloud consulting, everything related to Microsoft 365, Microsoft Azure, and just the IT space, then please subscribe to this channel, like for more content. Let's get into it. So the first and foremost, I would usually just go into the customer and I would sit down and I would ask them for their requirements. So at this point in time, I usually try not to do too much talking. I try and let the customer do all the talking, because this is the point where you can really gather a lot of information and you can determine whether the customer has actually thought through a lot of the things that are required in the project, or whether you're going to have to actually pull them out of that customer and ask the right questions to get to that point. Often the customer has been thinking about this type of solution for a long time, so expect them to actually be able to talk about the solution in full. They will always tend to use terminology and refer to things that you have no idea about, and that is because they're just talking from what they've written or what they understand. It's your job to take notes during that time and make sure that you go back and ask questions about those certain things. So they might refer to an application that they use as their ERP. You might have never heard of that application, so they might actually just go in and talk about it as if you should know it. Make sure that you jot those things down and you ask them more questions about it later, so that you can actually determine what it is and how you're going to integrate it with the new solution if that's required. The next question is, who are the project sponsors? So try and get an understanding, and this is important as someone who does a lot of pre-sales and someone who does a lot of the scoping type of things. Try and get an understanding of who the project sponsors are, because it is very important for you to understand whether this project is coming from the users that are using the environment, or maybe the higher level management who's trying to save a bit of money and trying to make a cheaper solution so that they can basically bring down the cost of that solution in the future. That's very important to understand, because the catalyst, whether it be budget or whether it be looking for a better and newer solution, can really determine the type of solution that you are going to build. So I try and get that part out of the way very early. What is the solution? What is its purpose? And is it replacing something? So those three are very important as well. Usually the customer will tell you that when you're asking for the requirements. So give them a chance to actually get that out themselves. But if you don't sort of quite understand, then really try and understand what the current solution is, if there is one, and what it does, what its purpose is, and why they are actually trying to improve that solution or move into another platform or put in a new solution. What is the desired outcome of the project? So is it that they're trying to cost cut, or are they trying to improve the solution, or are they trying to bring it into the 21st century? Are they trying to secure the solution? Are they trying to completely revamp it, or are they trying to completely replace it? It's the type of thing that you should really be trying to understand at this point. Also trying to understand what they want the benefits to be in the new solution over the previous solution. So make sure you get an understanding of the faults of the current solution so that you can determine if the new solution is going to fix it. A lot of the time, customers will come and they'll have this conclusion drawn in their head that moving into this new solution is going to fix problem A, B, and C. But often it's our job as IT consultants and as people that would really understand the platforms that they're moving into to come in and be like, yes, it sort of will fix the problem, or it won't fix the problem, or it will fix the problem. We need to sort of determine that because we're the people that are actually going to be implementing it and guaranteeing those outcomes. So try and get an understanding of what the desired outcome of that project is, and try and also get something like a success criteria. So what will determine if the project is a success or not? That I think is one of the most important things, because a lot of the time people have a different idea, even within the same customer's organization, they'll have a different idea of what a successful project looks like. What you need to do is get the success criteria into one single document that allows the customer to actually go and share it with all the internal stakeholders and make sure that everyone agrees that those outcomes define what a successful project is. That is very important. A lot of the time this doesn't happen, and we end up stuck in projects where people haven't really spoken to each other internally to determine what the actual successful project looks like. Has the customer run a proof of concept? It's very important that the customer actually understands that there is a possibility that they can run a proof of concept for certain projects. So for example, if the customer is moving from, let's say, G Suite to Microsoft 365, it's very easy to go in and stand up a new tenant in Microsoft 365, provision a few licenses, and build a small POC environment that's pretty cost effective to go and actually allow the customer to run some test cases, to give their users some opportunity to go into the new solution before it's the permanent solution. It's great if they've already done that. If they haven't, it's your job to suggest that they do. I think that it's always a good idea to run a small test environment or POC and maybe just give the customer a feel what that solution is going to look like in the future. Has the customer made considerations around DR, BCP, and backup? As a consultant, it's your job to understand how to get these things up and running in the new solution. So it's important to know that you can do certain types of DR, certain types of BCP and backups in a certain environment, especially if they have requirements where they need to achieve a certain RTO or a certain RPO. It's your job to actually go in and look at that solution and look at the platform that it's going to be hosted on, whatever that might be. And it's your job to determine if they can actually achieve those goals. Very important that in your statement of work and in your discussions with the customer, you discuss these things because they are your responsibility. One of the outcomes of the project is going to be that you are going to deliver these things as part of your solution. And your project outcome is going to be a failure if you cannot achieve those. So make sure you understand the solution well enough so that you can actually pitch a certain type of DR or a certain type of BCP or backup, and make sure that they actually meet all of the requirements and they integrate well with that solution so that you can achieve those goals. Alongside DR and BCP and backups, we have support. It's absolutely crucial that during conversations and in the statement of work that you discuss things like support. Ongoing support is very important. Customer will have warranty as part of any sort of project that we do or any sort of project that you do, but it's very important that they understand that after warranty, ongoing support is separate. So it's crucial that you have that conversation early on so that your customer understands that ongoing support is a different thing to warranty. Ongoing support is usually required for things like maintenance, things like break fix type troubleshooting, maybe if the customer has any consulting questions, if they want to grow the solution or something like that, they can use ongoing support hours. It's really important that as the solution architect or as the IT consultant that you really define the ongoing support in the future after the warranty period. That can mean that you either discuss it with the customer, so you ask them whether the ongoing support is going to be in-house, so the customer might have someone in-house that understands the solution, but the chance is that they might not, especially if it's a new solution, then there's a very high chance that the customer doesn't have anyone internal that can support this solution. So it's your job to actually include that as part of your statement of work and to help them understand what's going to be required in terms of maintenance, in terms of break fix, and to really put forward a solution so that at the end of the project, they're not called out with, some type of break fix work or something like that. If the customer has a solution in mind already when they come to you, then it's your job to actually look at that solution and to also check if there's maybe any other potential type solutions. I think it's always an opportunity to show that you understand multiple different types of tech. So for example, if they're going to do a large virtual machine migration into Microsoft Azure, maybe sort of ask the question, why are they going to Microsoft Azure? And maybe you can also give them an alternate solution, so moving into an on-premises environment or an IaaS solution or maybe AWS. Just always sort of talk about the different avenues that they have. Probably have already thought of this type of thing, but it's really important for you as an IT consultant to show that you have multiple tech disciplines. And it's really important that you are really platform agnostic. So if the customer thinks that they're going to save X amount of money by moving everything into a certain platform, and you sort of know from experience and from actually dealing with other customers that that's not quite true because of, you know, some hidden costs here or there, then you should really make that known, and you should also offer another solution. It's very important, if you do criticize that solution, that you give them some constructive feedback. So tell them why that solution is not the best solution and why they're not going to save the money, and also give them a suggestion of what else they can do. So maybe they can move it onto on-premises hardware and then write off the costs over 7 years or something like that. Another question which doesn't come up too much but probably should is, what is the budget? Try and understand what the customer's budget is early on. A lot of the time they will not want to tell you, but I think it's a really good question anyway. Sometimes you'll have a good relationship with that customer, and that'll help you understand how much they actually have to spend. So what type of solution can you actually deliver for them based on that budget? Keep in mind, a lot of the time you can do things in IT many different ways, and what constrains us is often budget. So try and get that budget nice and early. If you can, that's great. If you can't, it's all right. You probably work it out in the end anyway when you give them a statement of work and they come back and say that it's too much. Hope that helps. I hope you've got some value out of that. If you think I've missed any questions, drop them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Remember, this is not a definitive list. I would love to hear what you guys ask and what you think I have missed. Let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, if you want to see more value, more content, drop a like, smash the subscribe button. We'll see you next time.